Bank on it. Nico Iamaleava will be better than Carson Beck by the end of the season. I'm going to use the eye test for one, and that burns a lot of people. It hasn't burned me as much in the past. Nico just has more physical ability, is faster, bigger, stronger, quicker release. And I'm talking about the elite of the elite, okay? We're talking about Carson Beck, who I believe will be a first-round draft pick. So please, you Georgia fans, don't think I'm knocking Carson Beck. But he's not. He just doesn't have the upside that Nico does. And I will tell you this about Nico as well. Some of his responses after games, we got to keep the foot on their throat. He said that after the Chattanooga game. He said, I've got to be better. And he just continues to want to get better both on and what I'm told off the record. He will be a better quarterback by the end of the year than Carson Beck. And I really believe we have just scratched the surface because Tennessee can do more things offensively. Am I crazy to say that Nico will be better than Carson by the time they play later this season?
No, you're not crazy. And I'll just give it to you guys this way. Nico already has 2 interceptions on the year. One, not really his fault. I think some people are a little disappointed that they wanted to see some Hendon Hooker numbers. But what I told you guys on Saturday after the game, and I think Dave and I both agreed on this, is that Tennessee's taking risk with Nico that they never even took with Hendon Hooker. They're trusting him to make throws that I haven't seen a quarterback be trusted to make in Knoxville in years. They're taking risk with him that Georgia's not taking with Carson Beck either. I don't think this is the year of the quarterback in the SEC, guys. And nobody is being trusted to make more risky throws than Nico Iamaleava in the SEC right now. Nobody. Maybe Peyton Thorne at Auburn, but Hugh Freeze is an idiot who actually thinks Peyton Thorne can play, and that's going to get him fired maybe in the end because it's costing him. But outside of that, like, they're trusting Peyton Thorne. He just can't make the throws. Tennessee's trusting Nico Iamaleava. Most of his throws, even on the deep shots, are over the middle. He's not working the sideline. They're forcing him to work the middle, and Josh Heupel saying work the middle of the field. I'm sorry. Georgia's not going to do that with Carson Beck. Georgia would never do that with any quarterback. They're way too loaded on defense to trust their quarterback to take those type of risks. And I got to be honest, that right now in the NC State game against a team that runs a 3-3-5 defense, his second 3-3-5 defense in 3 games, yeah, it's not going to put up the numbers you may want to see exactly, and he may make a couple of mistakes. Through the course of the SEC season doing that, though, by making these throws that other quarterbacks will never be trusted to make, and by being able to make them, Nico is going to have gaudy stats and spectacular plays throughout. And quite honestly, I just think that's why Nico will be better than Carson Beck in Athens in November, because the amount of faith that Tennessee has in Nico to make these throws, he's going to be so much more confident than Carson Beck is. So much more confident.
Here's the other factor that wasn't a surprise at all to me, Caleb, but it's the way Nico bounced back from a bad ball that he threw, the first interception. I still think he should have tucked on the second interception. You and I disagree on that. But the way he bounced back from that first ball, he wasn't hesitant. He was fine. And Josh Heupel said that he can tell that by his body language, his composure, and all that's true. But ultimately, you don't know, right? Until you throw an interception in a game against a ranked opponent and you're not at home, you don't know how your quarterback's going to respond. You have a pretty good feel. I was 95% certain that wouldn't affect him. But there was a part of me that thought, could this be something that gets in his head? It didn't. Nico has proven he can overcome adversity, and there's going to be adversity. When I said earlier that I think Tennessee could run the regular season table, I certainly don't think they're going to do so by 50 points every game. There's going to be adversity. So how much stock do you put into Nico bounced right back against a veteran secondary and didn't seem to really miss a beat after throwing that interception?
I think it speaks very highly to the character of Nico, like you said. I also think this is part of Nico's culture, it's not culture. His mentality is, it does fit kind of the Polynesian culture of just what you talked about. A lot of the Polynesian players who have played at Tennessee, where they go about your business, grab your lunch pail, go to work, go play to play to play. I think Nico's just so focused on next play, team win. I hate the sappy stuff, like he's just focused on the team and trying to win as a team player and things like that. But I don't really think he gets caught up in any of the other hype. I don't. And I think because of that, he doesn't feel pressure when he makes a mistake. And you see that a lot with guys like Nico. Now, sometimes that can also be dangerous in that you lose a little moxie if you do that. But I've seen enough of Nico. He's got some moxie. People said he didn't have moxie. He's got some moxie, guys.
No, just for the fun of it, NFL Draft Buzz has Carson Beck as an 89 out of 100. They have his release speed at a 96, so I'm certainly going to give him that. I do think he gets the ball out quick, but I think Nico gets the ball out a little quicker, to be honest with you. Short passing, 85%, medium passing, 91%, long passing, 92%, rush scramble, 76%. So I'm not trying to take anything away from Beck, but the long passing, the times that I've seen, he's underthrown guys at times. They're just so wide open that either he's being conservative in the balls he throws or he's underthrowing them. So either way, I'm not sure about that long passing grade. I'm going to take a little bit of offense to that. Rushing, scrambling, I don't think there's any question, the 76, that Nico's considerably better than that.
Yes, Nico's a much better scrambler. And honestly, when you watch Nico over the weekend, he's one of those guys, and I don't know who this compares to, Dave, but have you ever seen a quarterback who – I've seen receivers like this, but a quarterback who's faster than he looks because he takes such long strides. Like, his strides are really long when he runs. So he just – I'm not saying he – usually you say
slow.
Deceptive. Yeah, he looks slow, but he's fast.
You can say deceptively fast if you want to, but he looks slow. The time but he's not. He's very fast. I'm interested to see at one point when he runs the 40. There's no need to do that now, but I am interested to see at some point when he runs the 40 what he runs. But to me, for a quarterback, 4.5 is great, and I think he's a 4.5 guy, but he looks slow. He really does. But if you saw against NC State, and we'll see more against the SEC and have a better feel for it, on the one time where I'm not talking about the run up the middle, which, by the way, Cooper Mays just absolutely destroyed a man, and we talked about it on the Ball Report, brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. You can check that out on your YouTube channel. But the one where he rolled out to his right and picked up a first down, there were a couple of times where he ran away from guys, and I thought, man, he doesn't look that fast, but he's running away from guys. So is that more NC State Nico or both?
I think it's Nico. I think it's the strides he takes. Nico takes very long strides that make him look slow. Does that make sense?
No, I totally agree. I was hoping you would say that. Well, I wasn't hoping, but that's exactly what I was going to say. I think he's a long strider. You know who else was a long strider who didn't look fast until he was running away from people? Was Jalen Hyatt.
That is actually true. You're right. The acceleration was big there. It's a very good point.
He was a long strider, and they will teach you too when you run the 40 that you want your first two strides to be as long as possible. You almost want to fall down, like forward, because you're going so far forward. Now, that doesn't necessarily help you in football, but these guys, Jalen and Nico, happen to have that naturally. And if you have that, it's something you really don't have to teach. I mean, they're not teaching him how to run faster.
No, not at all. Not at all. They're just, it's something he has. And it's also, he does have certain instincts of kind of knowing where to get to on the field. And I mean, it's a weird thing, but it kind of stands out. You know what I mean? Where he knows where to get to on the field. He knows how to slide. He knows how to get out of bounds. I think I do think it's instinctual. And also he's just more, it's funny because Joe Milton should have been a better runner, but Nico's more willing to run than Joe Milton, which is actually another element added to his game that, is a big deal.
Agreed.